So nationalism is about attachment to a political territory, and I was heartened to see that my opponents kind of conceded the fact that we live in a world of nation states. So if you acknowledge that we live in a world of nation states, you also recognize nationalism as the legitimizing ideology of political rule. And so I acknowledge that there are versions of nationalism in which the blood and soil aspect of it rise to the fore. But I would also submit that we have, and we cannot ignore this aspect of nationalism, seen how it has driven profoundly inclusive movements in which it is less about blood and soil, but about a constructed idea of belonging. And so I'll just briefly talk about just give you historical examples again in terms of the most profoundly powerful nationalisms that led to the liberation of countries like India, where I'm from, the nationalism of Gandhi, but also today. So there are nationalisms that are not necessarily rooted in blood and soil, that are alive and flourishing today, and that have played a very important role in tackling the crises of today.
Draw the distinction between patriotism and nationalism. And your opponents may or may not agree with it, but I'd like to hear how you make that distinction.
Patriotism is much older. Nationalism is much younger. Patriotism, when you look at even how the word has been used, going all the way back to the Elizabethan era, coming from, late Latin, but also Greek origin, basically it means a connection, a sense of belonging with your fellow countrymen and countrywomen. Whereas the word nationalism, even the concept itself, the way it was coined, and when you look at people like Johan Herder, the people who have coined the term, first of all, it is much younger, about a century later, and their main preoccupation was not only defining who belongs in a nation, but also who should not belong in the nation.